Well, hello everybody. This is Linda in North Central Texas, and I just wanted to get on here and stay in touch with everybody. I'm still dealing with my back issue, so I'm limited to what I can do right at this moment. The sun's kind of bright out here, so I'm squinting a little bit, and I didn't bring my sunglasses out, so but just wanted to talk with you a little bit. Talk to you about concession planting. You can plant stuff right now like squash, cucumbers, zucchini, and then wait a while, plant them again in another spot. That way when the plants you have quit producing and die off, you have the other ones that are coming up and they'll be starting to produce for you. And you can do that off and on all summer. I mean, I've done that a lot of times with my tomatoes. Like a lot of my tomato plants are getting big enough right now that they're starting to put out blooms, which is surprising because I thought they would get a lot bigger before they'd put out blooms to have tomatoes. But I've been constantly replanting new seed, like the rainbow tomatoes and the yellow pear tomatoes. The first year I've planted those two, and the seeds have just come up, but they're not big enough to transplant or anything like that yet. So I'll have those to produce even after, I'm already getting tomatoes from the plants that I've got now that are getting big enough to start producing. And you can do that with a lot of your different plants. That way they're producing all summer long. Because some of your determinate tomatoes will, especially the big slicing type tomatoes, they'll grow, they'll bloom, they'll produce a good crop of tomatoes, and then they'll die off. The whole tomato plant will die off and they're done. But if you can session plant, when those start producing, if you'll plant more, by the time those stop producing, the other ones will be up big enough that they'll start producing for you, and you'll have them going all summer. I hear chatter from the squirrels back over here in the trees behind me. Squirrels and the other birds. But that's just a tip, it's something that you might think about doing, is to stagger your growth periods. Plant something, wait a little bit, plant more, wait a little bit, then plant more. That way you got them going all summer. Now some plants like the cherry tomatoes, the grape tomatoes, they produce all summer long. They don't stop. And there goes a hummingbird, but he's not behind me. He's in front of me. I think he went behind me. I don't know if you can see him though. Yeah, but start planting consecutively to where you're not going to get just one big crop of tomatoes from those determinate tomatoes, those big ones. You'll get several different crops throughout the summer, because you'll have more plants ready to produce when the first ones die off. That's one reason I do love the cherry tomatoes, the grape tomatoes, and those, because like I said, they keep producing all summer. They don't die off. They'll keep going until it gets too cold to produce anymore, and then the plant will die. But usually that's way at the end of the summer. That's in the fall when you start getting your first freezes. I have a video tomorrow that I'm going to post. I think it's the video that did me in. Because I was using that little edge trimmer and all that, and I was doing it for way too long. And if I hadn't have done it for so long, I don't think I'd be having problems right now. I'm just going to have to take it easy for a while, I guess, until everything in my lower back and my neck relaxes. And then I think everything will be back to normal. I've just got to bear with the pain until then. I went to an emergency clinic a couple hours ago, thinking that they would give me some painkillers or some muscle relaxers or something like that. But they said no, they couldn't do that. Since I was having a problem walking and in so much pain, they couldn't give me anything because I had not been diagnosed without them taking an MRI or some kind of a scan or something to determine what was going on. So I just came home. I gave it up. I said I'll just deal with it on my own like I always have and hope it works out. It may take a while, but hopefully it will work out. It's been a beautiful day. It tried to rain earlier. When I was coming back from town, I had stopped and got a chicken sandwich and a drink at McDonald's. And when I left there, headed home, it was great big old water sprinkles falling on the windshield, but it didn't last but a few seconds and then it stopped. And then we didn't get any more. So I guess we're not going to get any rain today. That was all we're going to get. But I think we're supposed to get more around Wednesday, I think. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, somewhere along in there. We're supposed to get some more showers. So my garden's going to love that. I mean, it's just jumping with joy now after the little bit of rain we did get. So if we get more on top of it, it just will love that. And the sunflower that's out at the wishing well, it didn't have just one sunflower that opened. I thought it was going to have one big one. But oh no. It had multiple flowers at the top. I mean, where I thought was one. Get this thing steady. Look at the top of that. There's like 4 or 5 sunflowers that opened up where that one, where I thought it was just one big one. So I thought that was pretty awesome. Got multiple flowers instead of just one. And then, of course, I got these here. Well, can't find it in the camera. There goes one right there I was going to show you. It's turned the wrong way, but isn't that pretty? And of course there's more there. But yeah, that tickled me to death when I saw out there that it wasn't just one sunflower, it was multiple sunflowers, where I thought it was just one great big one. So, you never know. Yeah, my Brussels, I mean, not my Brussels sprouts, but my, look, Those two plants right there, they're just really looking good. I had to trim the peppermint back. It was getting so tall and lanky, it was falling over everywhere, so I went ahead and trimmed it back. It'll help it fill out thicker too, to trim it. Everything back there in my garden is looking good. But I wanted to show you, look at the growth spurt on that tomato plant right there. It's almost halfway up the pole. And that was a volunteer. And look at that one there. It's halfway up the pole. I had to put the stake to it and tie it off because it was leaning over. In fact, I need to retie it a little bit. And since this was a volunteer, I'm not sure what kind it is. But it's got flowers on it, it's got blossoms on it, so it's trying to put out tomatoes. I'm hoping it don't get too tall. Well, I was going to try to untie that and raise it up a little bit. I'm doing that all the time. As the plant grows, I raise the tile up a little bit. Because if it's fixing to put out tomatoes, it's really going to get top heavy. It's going to need to be staked out up here. There. It looks like I've got 3 over here. Yeah, I wasn't sure you could see that. But I've got this one. And that's probably going to have to be staked off pretty soon. And this one, look how tall it is. And then I got this one here that's coming up. So I'll have 3 tomato plants in this big half barrel with a sunflower, Swiss chard, and I've got some marigolds in here. And I've got some kind of squash seed coming up. I don't know if that is it might be a spaghetti squash. Who knows? Like I said, I stick seeds around and then I forget where I put seeds, so I wanted to go check on these out here that we planted. Don't see nothing yet. If we get more rain this week, seeds need to be covered up. If we get more rain this week, they'll probably come up. Let me shorten this thing. It gets in my way if I try to walk around. Now, see how far I can walk without my back killing me. But look at that. Aren't they beautiful? And those were just those little bitty stick cuttings that we rooted. And these over here are blooming. They're just not quite as big for some reason. And of course my zucchini. Got a good zucchini right there. My Swiss chard needs to be harvested. Look how big it's gotten. I mean, all that rain, it just set stuff off. And my cantaloupe, natural as it is, it wants to go up. Watermelon too. Look at that. I got one watermelon vine growing up the buckets. I'm just going to let it grow because it'll have to go up and then come down. It's not going to go up too far. The other one's going over here. And look at there. That little bit of rain just worked wonders for the garden. And I guess this is my catnip. The first time I've ever planted catnip in this little tub right here. And all the flowers back there. All of these vines are going crazy. It's like I need to get some more water to this one. My cucumber going up the... I wanted it to go up the trellis, not up the sunflower, but it's going up the sunflower too. Yeah, I might put some, just a little bit to it while I'm here, because since I got this right here. Since I got this bucket of water. Or it's a bucket of compost tea is what it is. Just put some in those little pots. To know anything about starting your pots, composting in place, or any of that, you know what? I should have went ahead and put some to this one here too, since I'm right here. Put some to my catnip and the other stuff. There. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit to my zucchini up here. It dries out pretty fast. That's one thing zucchini and squash need, is plenty of water. I mean, you don't have to drown it, but they do need a lot of water. Like I said, I put some compost tea in these little buckets and the little pots, because then, like that one right there that's got sunflowers in it, I watered the little pot so it'll drip down the bottom and go into the big one. So you're basically watering both of them at the same time. Look at this. Look at the pretty squash in there, almost ready to pick. Getting big enough to pick. Look at that. Wait another day or two and then I might pick and cook me some yellow squash. And I think I put a spaghetti squash there. It's already popped up out of the ground. Because I'm not going to do nothing with my potatoes till the plants die off. And then I can pull the plants out, or just leave the potatoes there a little while longer before I pull them out. Because see, the potatoes are flowering. And they claim when they flower and die off, that's when your potatoes are ready. I don't know. I haven't been planting potatoes before, but I guess we'll see. Look at that. I got winter squash and cantaloupe vines growing across the pot. And those are growing down. And I do believe I've got a tomato plant in here. Look. I don't know what kind of tomato it is. And here goes my cucumber. See, it's grown a couple of inches since I was out here doing this. So you have to keep on top of it, watch them, and keep them going around the cord so they'll keep climbing. They got little cucumbers on them. Look at there. That's a little cucumber right there. Let's see if I can get it to start going up this one. But everything is looking good. And that vine is just going crazy. If it would rain on it again, it would love it. And my tomato plants here and my peppers are loving it. Look at my little tiny Tims, my dwarf tiny Tims. They're finally making an appearance above the top of the pot. Some of them are still down in there a ways. But they'll come out, they'll grow. My cilantro's going to seed. And I really didn't want it to do that. Because I haven't got any cilantro yet. I really didn't have anything to put with cilantro since my tomatoes haven't bloomed yet. Well, they haven't produced tomatoes yet. It's the only thing about planting cilantro. It starts getting a little hot on it, it'll bolt. It'll go to seed and then it's gone. And those tomatoes are going right on up the cord. But considering everything is looking good. I don't have the pepper plants that I wanted to come up, but I know last year when I planted my peppers, I gave up on them. I didn't think those hot peppers were coming up. And then all of a sudden, the hottest time of the summer, those pepper plants started sprouting up. So I expect that's what's going to happen this year. They'll wait till the hottest time of the year, and then they're going to start sprouting out. And see, that cilantro is going to seed. I guess I could try planting more, but it'll probably just bolt too. I haven't seen any of my ginger come up yet. Look at that, my pumpkins. My cucumbers. I'm going to have to put some more cords up here for them to keep going up, I guess. I got some little ones coming out trying to go down. I want them to go up. But everything is looking good. Look at our half barrel of flower seeds that come up. Zinnias, marigolds. I'm not sure what else I got in there. Looks like there's even a tomato plant in there. I didn't plant a tomato in there. But I'll tell you what, that's exactly what that is. That's a tomato plant. What is it doing in there? I didn't plant a tomato in there. It had to have been a seed in the compost. So I don't know what, I'll just leave it. Let it grow and do whatever it wants to. That's what I usually do, is just, if they come up and they look good, I'm just going to leave them. If there's plenty enough room for them to grow. And that squash is doing good. I think I got a squash and a cucumber. The cucumber's in the middle. Right there. And the squash is on the outside. And that's looking good. I'm going to have to cut back that mint, though, because it's kind of straggly. Need to cut it back a little bit so it will thicken up. Oh, my side's starting to hurt a little bit. I guess I've been walking around too much. I'm pushing it, so I had to start tying those up because they were starting to lean over. I want them to go up the arbor here. And there's a tomatillo. I'm going to have to tie that up pretty soon because it's leaning over the wrong way. But it's putting out blooms. Look at that. That means it's going to try to have some tomatillos on there. Isn't that something? And there's a few other tomatillo plants below it. It's not got that big yet. And see, that tomato plant has blooms. See the bloom down in there on that side, and there's blooms on this side. That means it's fixing to have tomatoes. I think that's a delicious tomato. So it may not get too tall. But there's another tomatillo here. There's a tomatillo back here. There's two of them in there. And then I got tomato plants. So, and see, the basil just didn't do it. It came up and then something just ate it. So I should have covered it with something, I guess. Something ate my tomato plants too right there. So I'll have to replant those, I guess. I'm going to get a different type of potting mix. Something to start seeds in it and leave them in small cups to start them next time. Because those were my pear tomatoes and my rainbow tomatoes. They all came up real pretty. But there's not a one left in there, just like the basil. Something just eats it up. It likes the plants. Just like my peppers right there. All those pepper seed came up, and I've only got 2 survivors down in there. And I got one over there that survived. And that tomato plant there has got a bloom. It's fixing to put out a tomato. And I'm not sure if that's a delicious tomato or aroma tomato or a tiny Tim or what that is, because I didn't mark it. I'm the worst for doing that. And my poor peas are getting ready to burn up. I haven't been out here taking care of them. You got to stay on top of them. They don't like hot weather anyway. Now these foot-long beans, they'll grow as long as you keep them watered. The bush beans, which are your green beans, they'll grow as long as you try to keep them watered in the heat. But these other ones, they do not like the hot weather. And they don't like it real cold either. So they needed to be in the shade, I guess. Oh well, I'll know next time not to plant my sweet peas here. I need to plant them back over there where it's shaded partly. So, well, I'm going to inch my way back around to the other side. I might go ahead and give those peas a drink of water while I'm here. Because it didn't rain enough to get the dirt real wet in that pot. I hate that those little tomato plants are gone. Those little sprouts, they come up so good. And then they just, something ate them, or either they just died off. Oh, well, that's enough for now. Sorry about that. It's hard to handle the hose and the camera at the same time. I'm so glad I got everything planted, though. I mean, even if I don't get the rainbow tomatoes and the pear tomatoes this year, maybe I'll get them to grow next year. Because I've got a pretty full garden right now. Don't have much room anywhere else to put anything else. So I don't know where I would have put those pear tomatoes and the rainbow ones. Although I might drop a couple of more seed there just to see if they'll come back. Or like I said, I might get another bag of potting mix, put it out. And see if I can just start 1 or 2 plants. Got a bee flying around here. He's wanting my Coke, I guess. But yeah, you know, if you want to keep those determinate tomatoes growing all summer, just consecutively plant them. Wait till one set gets up a pretty good size, plant more, and so on. And that way you'll keep those bigger tomatoes growing all summer. Whereas the grape tomatoes, those Brandywine cherry tomatoes, and the other cherry tomatoes, you only have to plant one time, the beginning of the season, and they live all summer. They'll keep growing and producing until the cold kills the plant. That's one thing I like about planting those. As long as they get water, they'll live and produce all summer long. So, with that, I appreciate you hanging out with me, and I'm sorry I couldn't do a lot more today. But I am up and around a little bit with my hip not hurting, but after I stay on my feet a while, my side starts hurting. And then I have to sit down and rest it again. So I'm sure after a few days rest with a heating pad to keep those muscles relaxed, I should be okay. I mean, this is something I've dealt with off and on since 1984. It got worse here lately because I was re-injured at Lakestone Terrace. And, you know, even though you have surgeries, it's not a fix-all. It doesn't take care of all your problems. You're still going to have ongoing problems with the injury, like I did. And then when you re-injure yourself on top of it, that's not good either. That's one reason I started doing my gardening, because I figured, well, gardening with my pots and my totes is going to be easy on me. I don't have to lift heavy objects, don't have to strain on stuff, because I had all my pots basically set up except for my Easter or spring garden. Definitely not going to be mowing the yard right now or using that trimmer anymore. Be a long time before I put my hands on that again, because I feel sure that's what did it. I used it for like 2 hours straight, and that was just too much aggravation to my neck, my lower back, my arms, and everything. So again, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I just bless each and every one of you for watching my videos, for liking my videos. Please like, share, and subscribe to my videos. Y'all have a blessed day, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye now.